Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this game of Europa Universalis IV. This is the 6th session of the Community Clash, and we have got a full house today. 30 players here present and correct. I think 2 people have lost connections. They are reconnecting. They will hot join, but otherwise we have the full roster, so there are no nations protected, which has got to be like the first time in quite a long time where this has happened. A couple of other things. We do have a couple of substitutions. Jamie, unfortunately, has left, so we've brought in Cold Rage, who is now taking over Sweden. And we lost Torshin, although he's only away for, I think, 2 weeks. And they have been replaced by... this is something I should have noted. Looking through the list of players, who was it? Calico. That's right, Calico. So Calico is now playing in Andalusia. So Andalusia over here, played by Calico. So 2 substitutions, but otherwise everyone is here. We were a little bit concerned at the start because the Ottoman player hadn't turned up. So we were thinking, this could certainly change a few things in terms of overall situations, but no, we have them. So Striker's loading in for Poland, which is going to make Europe a little bit more colourful, and then Mindboy, who is down here in Delhi, trying to hold up the Bahmanis horde, although actually I think those 2 are allied. But yes, last session was fairly quiet. There were, I think, a couple of skirmishes, but no major big wars, unlike the session before where everything was kicking off and I was talking pretty much constantly. So I am suspecting that last session was a bit of a reprieve. Players were spending the time rebuilding. I know in particular, for example, Russia was unusually quiet during that period. And he's already said that the partition of Lithuania is going to continue. So whether Sir Striker of Poland is going to be able to take it all or not, we don't know. But yes, I've been promised some shenanigans this session, so I am very much looking forward to seeing exactly what happened there. Why did Jamie live? Don't know. Who was it that needed to break the alliance? That was the Ottomans and Russia. Russia is now one of the top 4. The Ottomans, I think, are still number 1. And you are allowed to have 1 great power ally, but if you're in the top 4, you can't have any. And there are all kinds of rules that we are playing with. If you want to find out what those are, then head over to our Discord, if somebody could do the ! Discord, and you will find all of that in the multiplayer information. It is pinned, so just press the pin, and you'll get it all. Thank you, Poet. So once this has finished loading, we'll do a quick talk about the situation, possible things which may occur during this session, and yeah, we'll go from there. Couple of NPC wars going on at the moment. That guy's fighting, Ulm is fighting, Maguindao is fighting, aka the Philippines, Japan is fighting, Netherlands, Poland, Prussia, and the Kamchundals. I also kind of want to take a look over in North America, because Kamchundals I know have been expanding over here, and they've actually managed to grab a significant chunk of Mexico, so there may well be some rising tensions between the Kamchundals coming in from the distant Siberia and Spain. Spain is the other one who has been grabbing territory over here. And in fact, colonially, Spain is looking very, very strong. But I know that there is a agreement of some kind between the Inca, who are in fact allied with England. And Spain and England have certainly been at odds because England owns Tortuga, which is one of the victory point locations on the map. And if you control the victory points... Hello.
All right, everyone's in.
Cool.
Do you want us to hit play now, or should we give it a minute?
Give them 2 minutes, so at 50:30.
Okay.
Just so that people like Sweden and Andalusia can have a bit of time.
Okay.
Cool.
By the way, I'd like to come in and explain to chat, the whole diplomatic situation of the HRE sometime, because I noticed a few of them don't quite get it, and I think that might be enlightening. So if you
want
ever
to do
got
that
the
now,
time,
you can.
Sure, why not? So, chat. I've noticed a few people have been viewers a little slow on recognizing threats around me. I'll preface this all by saying I can be totally wrong. Don't get me wrong. Nothing's set in stone. Everything could change. So 100%
Führer
acknowledge
is the HRE emperor, by the way. Austria.
Yes. But I've been basically working nonstop since this game started to ensure that my diplomacy is in such a state that I don't have to worry about that. Also, you should pay attention to the nations who I brought into the HRE as players. So I have England in. So I have the English Navy that I can rely on if I need to. I also have the Netherlands in, which means I have another strong naval power there that I can use to check England if I need to do that. I have Prussia with their qualitative troops, but I also have Sweden in case I need to use something against Prussia. I don't think I will, but it's there nonetheless. Sweden, Prussia, and Poland serve as a guard against the eastern frontier, against a Russia that is actually not quite as big as you would think. I've gotten the PU over Hungary, so that way I can effectively block the Ottomans into going north into Europe, and the Ottomans have actually been trying to make nice with me over the past couple sessions. I have the Shadow Kingdom event that I stopped, so I brought Italy into the Empire, which gives me a nice Mediterranean buffer and rather wealthy lands that have remained within the Empire. So I have rich and powerful allies to myself. And last but certainly not least, the forces of Milan, the Netherlands, and England are all in a good position to counter any Franco-Spanish alliances to my west. I've literally got players in every position to guard borders of the Empire from all threats. I think I'm okay, guys.
And also internally, you've got people to counter potential threats. So Sweden and Prussia, England and the Netherlands.
I understand people think that I've been slowing threats, but if I haven't done something, for example, Mordred, 2 sessions ago when you're going on about how the Ottomans and Russia are beating up Poland and everything, I really like the fact that you're going on about how the Ottomans have these 2 3-star generals. Their troops are at the prime of their combat abilities. Oh, they're kicking so much butt. But why isn't Austria doing anything? It's like, did you hear what you just said? All of that stuff right before that? I mean, why would I fight the Ottomans when they're at the prime of their combat potential right now? That's a bad idea. Patience is, as I've learned in this game, is a good thing. Be patient. Opportunities will arise. And players will not be as strong necessarily as they've all been before. Right now, the Ottomans and the Russians are actually so strong that they can't even be allied.
Yep.
So
that's an alliance.
There goes that threat.
And there goes that threat. Would you be able to remind them of that as well?
I can point that out to them. But yes. So don't. If I haven't done something, there is a reason for it. I'm not oblivious to everything that goes on around me. I keep very close tabs on that. So just thought I'd go and set that out there so that chat's not like he should be doing this. Maybe, but I think what I've done has worked well. So
well, one thing I've learned about chat is they will always be saying you should be doing this.
Yes, this is very
You can't
true.
get around that.
Of course, and I don't fault them for that. And some of the things they say are good ideas too. So you keep doing what you're doing, chat. But I just wanted to let you know my side of things is all. So, and with that out of the way, I think we're ready to start. So
yeah,
I'll go
let's
get us
do
rolling.
this. Good luck. Okay, so it is just us once again, and Fiora is actually making a couple of good points there. Like, I'm still not 100% sold on the fact that he kind of left Poland out to die, because yes, the Ottomans are very strong right now, but if they had a couple more enemies in the area, then Poland would probably be a bigger bulwark. But then again, if you're playing the long game, you will notice that a certain eastern state is now a member of the HRE, having realised they need the protection and have made it official. So Poland losing all this territory, and more importantly losing the personal union over Lithuania, has allowed them to join the HRE, which has then allowed the HRE to grow ever stronger. And one thing which I'm actually a little bit curious about is how many troops and things is Fiora getting. So 34 princes, 4 free cities, gaining 8 tax income per year, I think that is. 21,000 extra manpower and then extra 19 land force limits. So the Austrian army right now is definitely not something to sniff at. 44,000 troops. Currently losing money, but I suspect that their economy is generally in quite a strong position. They're doing a lot of missionary work at the moment. And that was another thing, actually, that emerged between sessions, is Fiora got kind of lucky in terms of the conversions. He hasn't had to fight as many conversions as he possibly could have. Although, looking at the country right now, not sure how true that is, seeing as more of Austria is currently not Catholic than is. So there's going to be a lot of converting going on here if Fiora decides to remain Catholic, which he might. We'll see. Twitch chat privilege is back. Armchair strategizing. That's true. And I definitely don't fault you for doing so. I mean, I know I'm guilty of it when I'm watching people's streams. Okay, so what other conflicts are we likely to see? Well, there was a lot of talk between Helson and that guy. There's definitely no love lost between these two. Helson is very much in the expansion mode right now, so I don't know if Helson's actually going to want to start any problems. The problems may well be started by Uran, who's going to get concerned by Russia spreading east, because I don't think that they have any exploration or expansion ideas. They do not, which means that all of the Siberian territories up here in the north will become Russian, because Russia has a special ability where they can just start expanding. And it is not in here. It is, if we have Russia selected and we click on a province, then it's this button. They can basically start spending Diplo points to establish frontiers, and then those frontiers are free colonies which will mature, and that allows Russia to spread eastwards even if they don't have expansion or exploration ideas, which I'm guessing they do not, because that would be kind of silly. And it's one of the cheapest ways of expanding your territory very, very quickly. So Russia's going to be doing that, and they probably don't want to be dealing with outside threats while they're in the expansion mode. Once they've taken all the territory, sure, absolutely. But right now, they're still a little bit vulnerable, especially if they have to break their alliance with the Ottomans. So things could still occur. The other threat, of course, was between spicy Siberia and avocados from Mexico, also known as the Kamchandals, and Spain. And of course, the English, Spanish, and now probably more recently the Incan Spanish tensions will also be bubbling to the top. I don't think... Oh no, Spain are actually starting to encroach with Mord's Ranch into South America, and they have direct adjacencies to the Incas. And I'm guessing Inca... oh no, they don't have expansion or exploration either, which is a bit of a questionable decision, because they'd probably want to be grabbing as much of this territory as they possibly can. And right now, the bigger colonial powers around them are going to be gobbling up the good territory before they have an opportunity to do so. Who's this? Oh, Hamburg has gone colonial. So the colonial powers right now, Hamburg, England, France, Spain, Portugal, Austria. Austria going more for Africa. And then I know that Andalusia, I think, has exploration ideas as well. Yes, they do. Tunis? Tunis does not. Congo has expansion. So Andalusia and the Congo are also in a position where they could be doing that, but they have not yet started. And then going further east, Malacca, I believe, has expansion. Exploration, rather. So they could be going out as well, though they are very much contending with Portugal. And last time, the biggest war that we had last session, I think, was actually Portugal versus Malacca. And Malacca was humbled, shall we say. I know that since then, a couple of the neighbouring powers are a little bit concerned by European encroachment, so we may well see a coalition arising to try and combat that, although that has not as yet started. Japan did make the Philippines into a vassal, into a march, and we just got a Hindustan. We'll talk about that in a minute. So Philippines are a pirate republic, so they're going to have a very large naval potential, particularly as it's the Philippines and Japan together. So those two may well try to get a guarantee or something on Malacca, though right now it looks like Malacca is not having any of those diplomatic overtures. And I think that that's a real problem for Malacca, just leaving themselves so diplomatically isolated. It's cost them already, and I really hope that they have some plans for some more diplomatic maneuvering for some protection. Okay, so Hindustan. So Bahmanis have just formed Hindustan. So this is the 5th or the 6th formable tag that we've seen so far. They do have more territory, like Bengal is actually part of Hindustan. They've completely surrounded a couple of the smaller Indian states, so Hindustan is in a very, very strong position. I don't think I've ever actually seen Hindustan before, so what do they have? 20% more national manpower modifier, 5 more states, and then once they've finished all of their ideas, which they actually have, they gain +5 discipline, plus 15% infantry combat ability. That is pretty strong, coming in just behind Sweden and Prussia. Advisor cost -10%. That's actually one of my favourite bonuses because it allows you to get more monarch points for cheaper. Years of Separatism -5. Yeah, it's pretty good if you're an expansionist, which Hindustan has been. Yearly Legitimacy. It's alright. +10 landfire damage. Landfire damage plus infantry combat is going to be deadly, particularly as we enter the mid to late game. We are definitely emerging beyond the early shock phases. Usually that's more around chambered demi-cannon, leather cannon. That's where fire really starts to take over. So shock is still strong, but it's starting to lose its relevance very, very quickly, which is going to start making Hindustan even stronger. +2 missionary strength so that they can begin actually grabbing all of the territories religiously. And then development cost -10%. Wow, actually these are really good. Not surprising at all that he wanted to change. Taking a look at religious unity. Religious unity is super high, despite the fact that basically none of this territory is actually Shia. The state religion of Hindustan right now is Shia, and Shia will give them an additional 5% morale of armies, and then another 10% shock damage. So 10% shock damage, 10% fire damage, 15% infantry combat ability, 5% more discipline, and that's just from the ideas and religion. We're not even talking about the non-national ideas, which they do have defensive for even more morale of armies. They have quality for even more combat ability, and also the discipline from quality. Yeah, Hindustan is going to hit very, very hard in this. And the fights that we've already seen, Hindustan versus Jaunpur, and then the fights versus Hindustan and Yuan, or actually at the time it was Oirat, reflect that. So we're starting to see some really strong military powers emerge. Prussia, Hindustan, Iran, yeah. Stuff's happening. Russia. Hindustan and Bharat both have good ideas of reward for being giant empires. They're very hard tags to form. Not surprised. Inca have a colonist anyway from their religion. Really? Oh, interesting. Okay. Yes, they were expanding earlier. I did not realise that was from their religion, though. Tolerance to faith, monthly autonomy, missionary strength. Are you sure it's from the religion, not the reforms? Yeah, it's from the reforms. From being a native. The other nation to have lost some strength, I think it was last session, were the Mamelukes, who have now finally started to see some strife between themselves and the Ottomans. The Ottomans having taken a pretty big chunk out of them, plus also Tunis backstabbing their former allies, and then the Papal State coming in, probably trying to form the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which I think they're actually very close to being able to do. Let's just take a quick look at that. Kingdom of Jerusalem, they simply need Jerusalem to be stated, and to form the Kingdom of God they need more of Italy. No, I think they're pretty definitely going after Jerusalem. So all they need is for Jerusalem to be a state. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't done that already. Maybe they just haven't realised. Yeah, they just need to press that button and then core it again. So, the question here is are the Ottomans going to go after anyone this session? What do you think, chat? Are the Ottomans going to go aggressive? Are they going to go after Russia, maybe? Now that the alliances between those two should have broken, and they still haven't. Was that Russia or was that Prussia? Nope, that was Russia. Russia is no longer top 4, so they can have that alliance. Although it is pretty close. Spain coming in. Where's France? France has dropped down to 6th. Spain's rapidly overtaken them. England is now considered a great power. So who are England's allies? England are only allied with the Inca, and I'm pretty sure that Inca are not one of the great powers. In fact, where would they be if they were? They're not actually that far behind. Once they get the printing press institution, they will increase fairly substantially. But still, somewhat behind. I'm expecting them to have a go at Iran. That's possible. Russia may well try to lead that. Do Iran have any allies? They have Sweden and Japan. Japan wouldn't be of very much help in that instance, and Sweden, questionable. I suspect that Sweden are a little bit too far away, although it will cause Russia to be fighting a war on 2 fronts. Iran are going to have the numbers, and then Sweden's just going to have the quality.